that. Keep in mind, Joe Biden never talked to Fox. Joining us now, Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin. Senator, great to see you. Your reaction to that ABC interview with Terry Moran. Back to the future, right?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise us. I mean, the president is being very transparent. As you said, Biden never sat down with Fox. Trump has taken the fight to the enemy's camp every single day. He's sitting down. He's very transparent. His cabinet hearings or meetings are open to the public. He's constantly doing interviews. There was weeks upon weeks where Biden never even spoke to the press. He sits down with ABC, with CBS, with NBC. He does one-on-one meetings with them. And yet they completely dismiss him. And they just continue to spread their narrative about the president rather than, as you said, show a little bit of gratitude that he's at least willing to sit down and talk to you when he shouldn't.
Because you know when those doors close, they must be looking at each other and saying, he just shut down the border, 99% of the border. They said that was impossible for generations. You at least acknowledge that. And then when it comes to scooping up criminals, that's kind of a good thing, I always thought. Now, the major thing, it doesn't seem to bother President Trump that much, and he doesn't hold grudges to his credit. But now all the pressure is on you guys in the Senate and the House to come up and pass legislation, the so-called big, beautiful bill. I'm already seeing some divides. Not that that's unhealthy, but it definitely shows people that are getting uneasy. For example, when it comes to Medicaid, I saw that 19 in the House signed up, mostly the Freedom Caucus, and said, we expanded Medicaid too much, we got to rein it in. President Trump says we can't cut Medicaid. How do you square that circle?
Well, I think we got to get people in the room and actually have a conversation with them. So what are we talking about when we're cutting Medicaid? Yeah, are we cutting Medicaid to people that have the benefits that qualify for it, or are we trying to cut the waste and the fraud and abuse out of the Medicaid where some of these blue states are taking advantage of it? There's a path there that if we can get everybody in the same room, we can actually have a conversation, not go out and make assumptions, but be able to deliver for the American people what the president has asked, what he's promised, and the promises that he wants to keep. I think there's a path forward here, Brian.
Right.
But people are going to have to sit down and talk. You know, let's use Chip Roy, for example. Chip sometimes comes out with some outlandish ideas, which is great, but he also comes up with some good ones every now and then. But he's wanting to raise corporate taxes. Well, that's a non-starter. But when we start talking about Medicaid, he actually has some ideas, but some of them may go a little far. But there's a point of how we can negotiate. We don't have to compromise our values,
right,
but we can negotiate and deliver one big, beautiful bill for the American people, and that's really focusing on the fiscal responsibilities and permanent taxes for us moving forward.
And possibly the biggest challenge is the Republicans who won in blue states like New York. Mike Lawler says, I have to raise the salt tax. What is that? A deduction for local taxes, which are high. He said, if I don't do that, I'm going to lose. And you'll lose the House. How do you square that circle?
Well, you know, Mike's very passionate about this issue, and we've had hours of conversations with Mike about this, and he's not wrong. But at the same time, we can't allow New York to be able to offset their lack of responsibility by providing, you know, sanctuary cities and hotels and benefits for illegals.
I hear you.
By at the same time making you know, landowners and homeowners pay for it. And the way they offset that is they want the American people or the taxpayers in Oklahoma, let's say, to offset that because they can now use their taxes or their property tax as a write-off. Well, that's not right either. But once again, this is something that, Brian, that we can find somewhere of a happy medium. But then at the end of the day, people in New York need to decide if they want to pay these higher taxes or not, or move to another state like Florida, which we've seen them do literally by the hundreds, moving out of New York because of their high property tax. But I understand Mike's issue. Mike is very issue about it. By the thousands? All right. Well, I don't live there. I kind of like Oklahoma.
Senator Markwayne Mullin, always great. Thank you so much, sir. Have a great week. It's going to be a consequential one.
Thanks for having me on, Brian.